Welcome to the Big Roofs Podcast, where we sit down with the most influential leaders in the roofing industry to talk about what really takes to build a stronger, smarter, and more profitable contracting business. I'm John Delaurier, former roofing company owner and co-founder of ProLine CRM. Are you struggling to attract quality talent? Andrew Henke from BRIX Recruiting Partners, who's helped grow the company from 3 employees to 25 over the past 7 years, shares how roofing contractors of all sizes can stand out to top candidates, sales managers, mid-level management, those type of employees that is very hard to find. They have a very unique process to find those individuals for you. He shares how small moves like building a career page, engaging in your community, and showing up online can make a bigger impact than just traditional recruiting methods like Indeed. So, if you want to find better talent, let's get into it. I appreciate you coming on today. This is the Big Roofs Podcast. I was introduced to you by Allie, our head of partnerships, and very excited about hearing what you guys offer. Yeah. But I'm very interested to hear the history of BRIX. What's your background first? Like how did you get to BRIX?
Yeah. So I will give you the short version, but I live here in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. I worked retail my whole life. So I was worked for big box retailers. I was a regional sales trainer for them. So I would travel all over the place and honestly got married a couple years later. We're having our first kid and I'm traveling all over the place. I'm working retail hours to be able to be in the field and train people. And I had to make a change. And so I was looking for new opportunities. I knew recruiting was always kind of sales focused, and there's a little local recruiting shop down 2 miles from my house. A little bit of a step back in their career, kind of taking a chance on myself, right, to restart my career. But it allowed for work-life balance and not be on the road all the time and be there for our firstborn. And now we have 2 kids, and I fell into it. So I started as an entry-level recruiter with BRIX, and was able to kind of fall in love with this industry and this career and fast track my career. And so through a couple of different promotions and building some teams, I find myself as the senior managing partner here at BRIX now. And I have 2 teams that work underneath me, and it's been a life-changing event. So that's the short version of how I got here. But I think that retail sales of, recruiting, it's just a lot of talking to people, getting to know people, be able to open people up and see what they are looking for in their career and same on the client side. I think that retail background really helped me get to the point where I am here today. Yeah.
And BRIX is about 13 years old and you've been there for 7. That was interesting to me. Like you started 7 years ago with 3 people.
Yeah. So at the time there was 3 or 4 of us in the building. Now we're at 25 people. We have myself and 2 other partners in the firm and then an owner. And a boatload of recruiters, and we're growing every day and looking to expand our team even more this year. So we're all based out of Minnesota, but now we're at a point where we're starting to hire remote. So we have a guy down in Florida. We have someone in Alabama, Kansas. So it's been really a cool ride to see that small 3 kind of family feel grow into this organization that we have today.
Nice. So, of your customer base, I haven't heard of you guys until, last week.
Yeah.
Where have your majority of your customers been, and where we service is at ProLine, primarily roofing contractors, but just home service, exterior contractors is kind of our ideal customer. Well, where are your customers usually, or where have they been? Where haven't we seen you why haven't I seen you since, till now?
So, BRIX serves 2 main industries is the best way to put it. One of our partners, Adam Forthrams, he oversees our building manufacturer. So a lot of the manufacturers that you'd use as a roofing contractor, they are assisting those people build those organizations. Myself and I have a partner that works with me. Her name is Ryan Millis. The 2 of us, we have really a home improvement is what we call it, niche. And so we service not only roofing companies, but window and door, siding, gutters, interior kitchen refacing, one-day bath, remodelers all across the country. And so we'll work with the companies as small as 5 million, and we'll work with some of the biggest national companies that are household names through that. But that's where my focus is on that part of the industry, is working with contractors, big and small, find top talent to help grow their organizations.
Nice. So did I hear you right? You're as small as 5 million. You kind of have like a floor of what makes the most sense.
Yeah, and a lot of it is really companies smaller that might just not need us yet. They might not need to hire that first leadership role and such. But I love hopping on a phone with those individuals and be able to just consult them maybe on where to find in-home sales reps. How do we find labor and things? Those aren't typically jobs that maybe are my wheelhouse that I spend a lot of time in recruiting, but I love to just have that conversation with people and help them out where I can on some different strategies. And, I saw you guys down at IRE. I was there to speak on that type of stuff. So you might see me from time to time on stage somewhere at some of these industry events.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. I was thinking, just as I grew my roofing business, I was pretty small. But it was still pretty easy for me to hire people. I know that a lot of people struggle. And a lot of it has to do with their branding, intentionality, maybe getting reviews. People came to me. I've never even had to like do real interviews.
Yeah.
I just had people referred to me a lot, but a lot of guys don't really have that. What are some things that you think that, if you're smaller than 5 million or you're at that $5 million mark and you're struggling, what are some things that you would suggest and advise with those companies to start attracting good talent, not just when they're utilizing your services, but like, what are some things that you see that like companies, your customers are successful at doing this?
Yeah. I think there's a bunch of different buckets you could go into, John, but you hit on one, I think, in your question there, just the marketing aspect and kind of having a good presence in the community. So putting a focus that I think recruiting a lot of times gets stuck in this HR bucket.
Yep.
Recruiting is marketing, is the more we can market that. And even a customer review on Google, not only your customers like that, but find potentially going to work with your company. I want to see what your customers are saying about you. I want to see what kind of company I'm joining. So I think, focus that, but even on a smaller company is one thing is, these individuals are potentially your customers, even they're visiting your website, putting an actual career page on your website, but actually imagining you're someone visiting that website and imagining that career site. What do you want to see on there? It can't just be we're hiring for this role, but maybe there's some video content of the owner or the team members talking about the culture, talking about the history of the company, what they offer, those types of things. That's a quick fix that you can do that can instantly make you stand out from a lot of your competitors because you're going to have a job ad on Indeed, just like the other 10 roofing companies would have in Georgia.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they all kind of look the same. And I think if we're honest with each other, every ad looks the same. As a potential candidate, I'm seeing these, I'm going to those companies' websites, and I want to kind of see who they are and what they stand for. And if I go to a website that has a career page that's talking about whatever you offer, it could be benefits or, just the culture, or you want to see who works there. And there's a couple of video clips of your current employees saying, I used to do this. Now I'm here. I've been here for 2 years. It's been life-changing. They're talking about the training. They're talking about the culture, the holiday party, whatever it is. Those are things that I almost guarantee none of your competitors are going to have on their website. Maybe one will.
Yep.
But that's an easy thing we can stand out. But from a marketing side, is think of it just like you're attracting a customer. What things are you deploying through marketing? They should be almost the same thing for recruiting. And we could get into how to do it on other platforms and social media and such. But overall, I think if you said, let's take recruiting and hand it to our marketing, either the third-party company or our in-house marketing person, and give them a budget for recruiting, I think that's a great first step for a smaller company to start to get noticed.
Makes sense. Yeah, even the larger company that I see, they don't really focus on the marketing the right way. They just kind of throw money at it, and it maybe looks nice. But I personally have always been trying to coach this for a long time, is that most roofing companies, most home service companies either they were a sales rep and they started their own business, or they were in production and they were building roofs and they're like, I'm going to start my own business. And in reality, those are very important, obviously. But I would say, and this is to, the chagrin of most of those guys, is they're like, I don't really want to do marketing, and they should be focusing on marketing first. Yeah. I always talk about this where it's accounting, admin, marketing, sales, and then production in that order.
Yeah.
And people don't like that. It's because it's like, that's the reality of the things. Like, we were able to attract people because we were very intentional about exactly what you just said. We highlighted our employees.
Yep.
Like I wanted to, like, a lot of realtors do this, brokerages do this with their realtors, and the good ones will highlight their realtors and help them be successful. That's what I was doing too.
Yeah. 100%.
And when you do that as an owner, it attracts other people that want to do the same thing. It's like, it's kind of crazy. And it's,
Yeah.
and also, if you're really intentional as an owner of any home service to be like, I want my employees to win every single day, not just make a bunch of money, but to actually have the work-life balance that they always wanted, whatever that looks like. Can look different for different people, but like, at the end of the day, it does kind of baffle me a lot of times when people are like, I can't find any sales reps, I can't find any admin, I can't find any crews. I'm like, we had people literally messaging us all the time.
Yeah. And
Crews asking for work, all the things.
yeah. And I don't think this isn't the golden ticket, right? But to your point, you kind of want to highlight your employees. Your customers they have multiple options. A lot of times they're buying because they like the individual sitting on the couch across from the table from them, right? So I would imagine everyone listening to this that has a roofing or an exterior company, it is almost a requirement, right? That at the end of that sales presentation, they hand out some business cards and they ask for referrals and such. I have a couple clients that they do that. And then they also have another business card that they hand out that says, oh, by the way, if you got a son, nephew, daughter, grandma, uncle, anybody that's in sales, you're buying through me. I love it here. This has been a life-changing career. My sales manager notified me in my meeting last Monday that we're looking for 3 sales reps to bring in next month. We're okay with anybody that doesn't have roofing experience. We'll train them. Here's a business card that goes to our career website and learn a little bit about the role. Maybe a list of the jobs you're hiring on that business card. If we hire anybody that comes from a referral from you, I'll come back with a gift card to the local steakhouse or something as a thank you. And then the company's also paying that rep some sort of referral for actually pitching this. But they're already asking for the referral for the customer. Like, hey, if you know anybody, and by the way, you obviously like me, you like the company, you had 16 other choices to get your roof through today. We're a good company and we're looking to hire. And so you got that kid that's coming back from college and don't know what they want to do yet, or whatever the case is. It literally costs you $0 other than to make some business cards for that and have somewhere to send them a website or a landing page or something talking about, your company and recruiting efforts and such. But that's something that any size company, a $1 million roofer or a $1 billion roofer can do. And I think can have an impact. I don't think you're going to fill your whole sales team with that, but you're probably going to get a hire or two. And my client that does it consistently, they've actually hired some of their customers because their customer goes, well, I'm in sales. And the car lot's been pretty slow lately. Tell me a little bit more about this. So
that's so true. I've seen the same thing happen over and over again where there's like they're roofing somebody's house and that person. I mean, it happened to us a lot too, where our customers would ask to get to like, are you guys hiring? Like, it's like, you have a really nice house and you see, I mean, they can just understand that the, $30,000 roof is it's still expensive. So, very, very interesting. So walk me through the process. If we're just talking about BRIX, we're like, you're just ideal customer, 5 million floor is probably where you're at. What's that process look like? Walk me through that.
Yeah. So, my kind of quote that I go to is, we're old school headhunters. So we understand that a lot of companies are already investing in Indeed and other job boards. And the biggest pain point is you're getting all these resumes that you get these emails going, I got 3 applicants today. And then you go into them, and you just feel like you're wasting your time. You're just reading resumes and you already have 10,000 things on your schedule already. So what BRIX does is we bypass the job boards. We go past them and we say, we're going to go to the market and we're going to have like an inside sales team almost. And we're going to go market your roles to the industry. Now, we have certain clients that might be in roofing and just open to a sales manager that maybe comes from a window and door replacement company or vice versa and such. But our job over the past 13 years has been to talk to the industry, to understand what works and what doesn't work. And we built this really powerful network. And so, John, there might be a day that I call you and say, I'm looking for a sales manager down in Athens. Who do you know? Type thing. But through that type of recruiting, we're getting a hold of people that aren't looking on the job boards. they need a tap on the shoulder. I maybe have talked to someone 2 years ago and I'm learning about that their wife is originally from another part of the country and they would love to get back there, but only for the right opportunity. And those candidates, just sit kind of in my database until the right client opens up the right opportunity and such. But our job is to really partner with a roofing company or a home improvement company and learn not just about the job description, but what's past that job description, what kind of personality you're looking for, what traits, what's the career growth, everything about it, that we can build a really strong sales pitch that we can go to the market and we can call on a sales manager at another company, either locally or we can cast a nationwide net for you. And we can find that best quality candidate, sell them on the opportunity kind of. Then our job is to qualify, again, saving you time. So we're going to have multiple calls with them. We're going to get a resume. For certain clients, we'll do reference checks and depending on if they see value in that or not, which sometimes I kind of question most reference checks. It's like, I'm going to send you to the people I know, will give me a good reference and such. But beside that, our job is to screen them. And then we kind of have a white glove service. So we handle all the scheduling, the feedback back and forth. And our ultimate goal is to find the person that he or she is going to be the one that gets you to that next level. And we're also, through all this, we work nationwide, just about in every single market and such. We can provide market value that we'll have a client going, I feel like I have a good job. I've had it on Indeed and no one's applying. But maybe they don't know that they're priced low on the market for what that role is looking for. We have that knowledge. If nothing else, I'm happy to take those calls with clients and just kind of tell them where the market is. For us, it has to be a good fit too, right? So we want to partner with ourselves with quality companies that are looking to bring people on and have them as a career, not just a job. I work in a role where I have two different sides to me. Is I have to fulfill our clients' needs, but these candidates also, I have to ensure that I'm lining them up with quality companies, because if I don't, we all know how close-knit that this industry is. It spreads like wildfire. Yeah. So I'm always looking at that. So if you're a potential candidate listening to this, we're vetting our clients just as much as we're vetting candidates for our clients, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're headhunting out there, just like you might see in some old movies and stuff, where we're calling on individuals. We're selling an opportunity, we're screening them, we're presenting them, get them in front of our clients. And then we go past the placement too, where we're doing check-ins, after the hire to make sure it's the good fit. BRIX Recruiting Partners is key in our name. Is we're looking to have a partnership with everyone that we work with, not just a transactional feel. So we really want to get to know our clients and such. That's a short version, I guess, of what we do. So hopefully that gives you some insight.
That's awesome. I mean, that really is helpful because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of systems behind it, I'm sure. Yeah. The database is very valuable. I just think about put my owner's hat on. I'm like, that's an incredible amount of time and effort and energy just to even start that process, to do that, to recruit. Unless you're a pretty large company, it's very difficult to be able to do that unless you have.
And our database, to your point, is powerful, but it's funny that a lot of the people we find come from the database, but it's the game of telephone, where I know a sales manager that, I get referred 3 lines down. And so even though we've been at it, it's funny how many new people we were able to discover through these methods. And almost everyone that I talk to, I ask, well, how often do you go on the job board? And like, well, I wasn't really looking until you called. But this opportunity, this company, whatever sounds really appealing, I want to learn more at this time. And so that's where I really think our true benefit is just be able to discover talent that no matter how great your career pages on your website we talked about, or your recruiting marketing outside, it's going to fall, it's not going to hit everyone.
Here's how roofers make it home for dinner every single night without losing a single sale, even when they're one-man shows. Automate your communication with ProLine, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs. Your weekends will smell more like sunscreen and backyard barbecues than that crappy gas station coffee. And all you got to do is ask these roofers.
Or we had about 200% growth, and I attribute that to incorporating ProLine.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
It's been absolutely insane how quickly we were able to grow.
Now, ProLine's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually really intriguing. So you're vetting the candidates, you're vetting the companies. In a world where I just consistently see, it's pretty easy to tell the companies at least, and even the candidates. Like I'm constantly in the Facebook groups because I'm trying to, keep my pulse down to the roofing industry really well. And it's pretty interesting to see people's values or the questions they'll ask in these groups makes it very clear very quickly that they're not necessarily like bad guys or bad companies, but they're asking questions that are like 2 or 3 questions back from like the real question that should be asked. And so I can see how that would be telling for candidates and companies, people that are trying to hire and also just individuals trying to get hired. What are some let's go both sides. So let's talk about this, like the specific process. I assume there's some sort of like questionnaire form in the beginning for a candidate. Like, what are you looking for? We don't have to like go every question by question, but like there's questions that you guys are, as you intake a new customer and they're a candidate, they're a company trying to hire new candidates. What are the best 3 questions that you're asking that kind of like filter through so they're a good fit for BRIX?
Yeah. So if it's a client that I'm asking and I'm, trying to vet this company to see if it's a company we should partner with, I think the biggest one is just asking, what's the vision, not only of the company, of this role, because that's my sales pitch. And it's a question that, although it seems basic, a lot of times that the answer is more difficult. What's the future if we were to help you hire a marketing manager, a call center manager, a sales manager, and so what is the career path of this individual? Well, I don't really know. So if someone was interviewing in front of you and they said like, I'm a sales manager today, but I'm looking to grow my career, my current company doesn't really have a clear growth plan for me, and that's why I'm open-minded. If we can't answer that question, man, we're losing a lot of confidence in that candidate right there, because that is one of the most common things when we talk to a candidate. On the other side, what are you looking for? I'm looking for career advancement. I'm not looking for anything to get handed to me, but I want to know this is a level and this is what I have to do to get there. Yeah. And when we have clients, prospective clients that can't answer that question, it's not I'm not going to work with you. It's we need to figure this out before we can go to market type thing. But that's one of the biggest things. We also talk a lot about what does your onboarding process look like? Do you have SOP around it? What does training look like? And when those processes aren't in place, my head goes to, if I'm the candidate, I'm walking in day 1 and everything's kind of all over the place and I'm getting handed over, I don't really know where I-9 paperwork is. We'll get it to it later type thing. And we got to reset the iPad from the guy that got fired last week and, get your credentials on it. Like it's not a great first day experience. Yeah. Where that's important for us to know is what does day 1 look like, no matter what it is, in-home sales rep to a sales director, because these people are waking up in the morning and excitement they're starting a new job, telling their spouse, hey man, good luck, on first day, and you go to the job and it's just nothing's organized. Yeah. And that excitement from day 1 just sinks. And I guess the last thing that we ask, prospective clients is just what are the expectations so we can start to set accountability with our candidates from day 1. And so we want to ensure that we're putting people in front of our clients that are going to be good long-term hires. And we want to set those expectations from an accountability standpoint from the first conversation we have them is what's expected of this role. So there's nothing where someone gets hired and 2 weeks and they quit because they go, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. I didn't know that was the bar or the expectation. So when we have companies that can't answer those questions, again, it doesn't mean we won't work with them. It's just saying, I think before we move, we need to get some of these things in line. And we're able to consult on some of that stuff. Through the 13 years, I would say we're very connected. We might have some resources and some different individuals, maybe even other companies that are willing to share stuff that we can point you in the direction of to kind of tee that up. So not only when you work with BRIX, is it a better candidate experience to bring someone in, but when your own internal efforts, you're doing recruiting too, you're empowering those also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. It really does. I sold my roofing business like almost it's like we're recording this in beginning of February. I sold my business almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
And ProLine, I was obviously using ProLine, and it's so much different now, even 12 months later. And a lot of the huge advantages that we have now just on the platform, which I thought was amazing, was exactly what you just said, which was all the onboarding process. We are really building a robust way, a platform to onboard new. It doesn't have to just be sales reps, but any new member of the team gets up to date really fast, and the communication's all clear for that.
Yep.
So it's a way. It's not everything, but it's a way to kind of structure an onboarding process where a lot of home service guys, they don't have that process driven mindset. They may have some pretty good SOPs for the business part, but not onboarding for new hires. And that definitely gets lost a lot. I see that a lot where like, okay, just get in the truck and ride around with me for 2 weeks. Like that's not an onboarding process. Like just shadowing is not it. So
and
very interesting.
And I think it trickles down too that you're the owner of the company, right? But taking time to invest internal training on your leaders that are going to be doing these onboarding and doing the onboarding training is, I think it's a lot of times we'll have, let's say it's a sales rep that's coming on. We're working with the hiring manager. And he says, yep, they'll work with Bill, who's our sales manager. But Bill was maybe the best sales rep last year. And he recently got promoted to a assistant sales manager on the team. But he's never onboarded someone. Maybe he's never, gone through formal kind of like training. At some point, I get that it's like, just got to be my wing here and follow along. But I think we do need to have some kind of SOP and such and invest in some training. There's different resources out there companies can go to get some training for their leaders on how to interview candidates, on how to onboard, having a staple system that when the sales manager is sick, that doesn't mean we have to delay the start of our new hires, that maybe our install manager is also cross-trained on day one expectations for those reps, and that person can fill in so we don't have to call the candidate and go, we got to delay your start week. And then they ghost us. They don't show up because they're like, well, this feels disorganized. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yep. And they could have been a great candidate, and they're just like, yeah, disorganized, not so much. All right, so we talked about the candidate side. We talked about the client company side. Let's talk about the candidate side. What are the three top things you're talking about there?
Yeah, so to maybe qualify candidates and such, big things we're looking for that I think a lot of our clients look for is just we want to get into past the resume. The resume is easy to say, I was this role and I oversaw this much volume and such. But our job is really to vet and to get people to open up and really question them on things. We're enough involved in the industry that I can do some quick math. And if someone says, I'm selling this average fee, but I did 3 million, I'm like, well, things aren't adding up here. Right. And so trying to break that down and again, ensure they're only putting quality people in front of our clients. So one is just going past the resume is the best part is we really try to find out, you hired 10 people last year as a sales manager. That's awesome. Tell me how you did it and get into it. And I think the best thing I can tell you, John, is we've been doing it long enough. I think we know what the right answer is and what stuff that just seems a little off. That, and then just job transition history too, right? I think a lot of owners going, well, I'm a little shy of someone that's had, multiple jobs in a couple years. And sometimes on a resume, it doesn't tell the whole story. There could have been some stuff where they were, in today's world, they were bought out by PE and some comp plans changed and territories changed and such like that. But our job is really to vet that out. And we're well enough connected in the industry too, that, when we hear a story of a certain PE group or whatever, there's a lot of positive PE groups out there too, that we work with that are awesome. But there's two sides to every story. It's our job to kind of, use our industry knowledge, be able to go around, and we know people at these companies that we're never going to call a candidate. We understand that all these conversations, confidence, but we're able to kind of vet them out a little bit and things. But really, it just comes down to having a really in-depth conversation and basically having an interview before we even ever present someone to our client. And it really narrows down where I'd love to give you just a black and white answer. It comes down to our client too and what's important to them. And so we have to have a really good idea of what our client's looking for. And that really changes the types of questions we ask every type of candidate. The basic stuff, yeah, we go through the resume with them and we question them and give me some more detail. And, let's do the math here if those commissions actually add up to what you said you earned last year and things like that. But we want to know what kind of systems you use, are you using Company Cam or Eagle View and Hover, and how long have you been using them, and what do you like, what do you don't like about them? That's all information that we can give to an owner or a hire manager saying, yes, they've used this CRM. They really enjoy this, but, this is the part they struggle at. And that might be information that could be a deal breaker for someone. And that's, it's a little one-off on the candidate side, just based on the role and everything. But a lot of it, I think our clients have trust in us because we only work in this industry. So we're not a generalist. All I do is talk about people in the exterior, interior home improvement industry all day, every day. And so I think it gives us a kind of an upper hand compared to maybe other recruiting stuff. Indeed is not doing that for us. And a lot of our counterparts, which, I love the recruiting industry, but I would be not a great recruiter for the nursing industry. I just don't know enough, right, to be able to know if an answer sounds like it's the right thing or not. So
it's very true. You guys are in a good position because being like niched down is super. I mean, I've been in this industry for more than a decade and almost 15 years, and it's very true. You have to know, like, let's play a game. Somebody posted on Facebook the other day about like, oh, I'm a $2 million producer. I want to work for a competitor. Or maybe it was the client. Maybe it was it was like an anonymous post. I love anonymous posts. It's like you're going to Facebook.
I know the same.
You're going to Facebook.
I'm at it too. So
yeah. You're going to Facebook to, first of all, to make a major life decision. It's hilarious. But I think it was like I don't want to mess up all the numbers, but I think it was like, I'm a $2 million producer, 10% gross of the sales, 2% more for self-gen leads. It was like truck, iPad, all the tech stuff, and then like a $25,000 sign-on bonus. And it was just hilarious. Like,
I saw the same post you're talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, it's because our algorithm's the same.
Yeah.
It is so funny. I would imagine from your perspective, those are like, kind of like, well, what is your perspective when you see something like that? I mean, I know what mine is, but what is your initial thought? Like, do you want to reach out to that person? Do you want to like this is a terrible idea to even entertain that person? Like, what is your thoughts when you see something like that?
I think when they're hiding their name sometimes, that it's maybe not even the candidate, it's a client trying to find, it's a company trying to put this out there and see who responds and
yes.
And whatever. I think a lot of times it's companies trying to maybe understand, am I paying too much? Am I paying too little? Like what's the industry saying here for me? But those are, a lot of things goes in my head, but usually I think if someone's with those type of numbers, there's more going on. The whole truth isn't there. If it is truly someone looking for maybe a new career, like this is what I make and what I'm looking for to join a new organization. I think there's a lot more going on, and I would be really interested, how long have you been in that role? What's kind of the support they give you? So you're doing 2 million, but, then that post, it said, for how much is self-generated? How are you self-generating these leads? Like there's so many questions that go in.
Is it retail? Is it insurance? What's the profit margin?
Are you
anyone can sell?
Are you chasing storms? Or are you working for, a huge company that has name recognition? And, I just got to show up and I get the sale,
Yeah. And don't get me started about insurance versus retail. Like we were almost all retail. And then I moved to Savannah at a second location, and we were doing insurance work, but we still treated it like retail, so I can control that customer experience better. But yeah, the level of sales rep for retail versus a level of sales rep for insurance is night and day. It's completely different offer. It's completely more complex. You better have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, because it's not the same thing as like, we're going to give you a free roof deductible. So it's very, very different. That leads me to a question I keep thinking about. what type of roles are you generally recruiting for home service? Like, is it mostly sales reps or is it other roles as well?
It's mostly leadership roles. So
Got it.
you take anything from mid-management, which let's call a sales manager, maybe a call center manager if you have your own call center. We do a lot in marketing. We do some controllers and accountants and bookkeepers and things like that also. And then we go all the way up through C-suite. So we work with some large PEs and some very large companies that we're filling presidents, CFOs, anything in the C-suite and everything in between. So, it's very common for us to have, working on 10 different directors across the country and a handful of sales managers and call centers. So the sales reps, funny enough, we don't do a lot of recruiting for sales reps. It's a little one-off and kind of to that point, like we need to see like what kind of support and such. And I think a lot of companies would say that $2 million guy, I want Andrew and his team at BRIX to go find me some. Well, unless you're paying more or your leads are better, those individuals are really hard to pull out without high demands like that of, well, if I'm going to make a change, I need a $25,000 signing bonus and a guaranteed salary. And, I want the newest truck in the fleet and things like that, which, for some companies, they need to have that guy come in or that gal to come in and handle that. And that's an option for them. When it comes to sales reps, I love to talk to people about this is what you can do grassroots, because could I go recruit a couple of salespeople for you? Yep. But that's a position, as you know, John, you are always hiring for, and you always will be hiring for it. And so I would rather be a resource where I can help give some ideas how to organically build a recruiting engine inside your organization. I even recruit recruiters for companies, which seems counterproductive for my business, but we will help find those recruiters so you get an in-house recruiter and really start to build your own kind of agency within your company. That's a role that we fill, a couple times a year for our clients. But I will spend, whatever time I need to help deploy some of those ideas and get you connected with some different resources. We mentioned the website earlier in this podcast. There's some web developers that are within our industry that I can point in the direction of and things like that. I would much rather be a resource to the industry for that. And then when you get to the point where you need that first leadership role, you see the value in what we've kind of provided to help with that, insight, that I'm the right recruiter for you, because I know the structure that you built internally already. I know kind of the team these people will be leading. And that's where I think I can be really impactful for a lot of our clients.
Nice. Do you do this? This is amazing, because I see there's two things that kind of come to mind is that when people start to scale their business, and it usually is around that $5 to $7 million mark, and specifically in the roofing space, they start to need to hire this type of middle, a sales manager is a great example. I see this as a huge value to those type of individuals, because you just mentioned a sales rep getting promoted to sales manager. Well, we at ProLine and a lot of other companies use DISC assessment, but do you guys use any kind of DISC assessment or some personality tests for those individuals?
We don't in-house. A lot of our clients will have one. I will definitely recommend. And again, it's one of these things where I have some resources where I can point in the direction, because we might want to use the DISC for this one hire, but I think you and me would probably argue you should be using it for all of your hires. I have a little bit different mentality on DISC assessments than some other people. Some people it's a black and white. We hire you, we don't hire you off the DISC.
Yep.
Mine is more, I know how I'm going to manage you and how our relationship's going to be off the DISC. So there's definitely some things on the DISC that would cause me worry if a certain score didn't align with a position, right? A low D salesperson, I'm very cautious on that, right? Yep. But I would argue that internally at BRIX, we use the DISC. If you looked at all 25 of our recruiters, there's a few people who are similar, but a lot of us are night and day difference, and we're just as successful in our role, but we know how to communicate with each other. I know how to manage people based on their DISC and how I have to talk to them and train them. And it's very something that we're super transparent with, that we might have an individual on a team that has a low D, but they know that D is low. And we're working with them to overcome there. And how can we, maybe help make your DISC different at work than maybe it is in your personal life and the way you carry yourself. And that's where my view on assessments is. There's a lot out there. There's the PI and CI and all these acronyms things. I can recommend and point in the direction of them. But there's also so many different variations of the DISC. and such, because it's been kind of manipulated and such. So the disc that I have might reap different results than the disc your company uses. So that's why we don't have an in-house one, because every company is a little bit different, and some do like their version or their dealer that they get the disc through. But we'll help administrate it, and then we can speak to it also to kind of help people understand the disc. So
Yeah, that's super helpful, because my thought is that know thyself, right? I'm really into, I want to learn about myself specifically so that I know how to interact with different types of people. And where I see a lot of companies kind of not invest the time, energy, effort into that, like personal assessment, is they've got a really great sales rep. They're just not a good fit for a management role. And then like it may sound attractive to that sales rep because like, oh, I don't have to deal with these pain points that I have to deal with all the time every year.
Yep.
I get this other thing, but they're not really a good fit for that role. And I think that what you guys provide is super valuable, because you can analyze candidates way more objectively than this. I like this guy. He's good. He's bought into our mission. Let's promote him. And it's just like, that's not the best idea. Not the best idea. It's not, they're going to get frustrated. I've seen it so many times. They get frustrated and like, go back to being a sales rep.
Right. And then there's the ripple effect of what that does to your organization too.
Yep.
When you see that person, your peers, they get promoted and on their back and such, and it can create some just awkwardness, maybe at times and such, but understand that. And then also there's assessments out there that, in my mind, because I'm very, money motivated when I was in my sales positions, that I just think everyone's money motivated. And that's not always the case. We might have people in sales roles that are there to make money, but they don't need to be the top producer. And that's okay, because they might be fulfilled in other aspects of the company that could be really impactful. But a lot of times I think our leaders, because it's our company, right, and we're money motivated, and we're looking at the bottom line and things like that, that we have people on our team that we might get frustrated. I'm throwing all this cash at them and it's not motivating. I don't know why they don't want to, take an extra lead and whatever. We just need to spend time, and sometimes these assessments, but really just, we got to sit down with our staff and really get to know them on a personal level and find out there's other things that motivate people, and we're not all the same. And I think that's huge when we talk to companies and they talk to us about consistent one-on-ones and sitting down and really get to know their staff and how they have these, long-term employees. Usually the ones that have those long-term employees, it is, they are very tight with their team. I mean, it doesn't have to be, the family feel, but they're tight in the aspect that I know what's going on in my employee's life. I sit down with them on a weekly or monthly basis, like clockwork. And when I sit down in those meetings, we have an agenda. The employee knows the purpose of it. It's not just to sit down. We're going to take some time to get to know each other, but there's a purpose to these meetings. And that's where I think we find companies that have long-term retention is they really invest in that training. And I know we're maybe get a little off on the side here, but that's what I think, if you're looking at yourself right now, you're looking to grow, but also you're going to spend all this time and energy getting people and recruiting them in. Like, now we got to retain them. And taking that personal interest in them is so big. And I think a lot of companies we've seen over the years just treat it like a revolving door. Well, if they leave, they leave. I'm like, you just paid a recruiting fee or Indeed fees and all the time and effort into it. What's the ongoing process? And again, that goes into us kind of vetting our clients is, once they're past onboarding, what does that look like? Like what's ongoing training? Because talk about, people that aren't always money motivated, they might be career motivated. They might be, I want to continue to get better and I want to join an organization where they're going to invest in me to make me the best possible version of me. And if we can say that when we're talking to a candidate, man, that lights them up and gets them excited and starts to question, do I have that in my current career? Yeah, I haven't had a one-on-one in 6 months. Like these guys do it every month for them. Yeah, they really invest in their team. That can be something that's not on a job description. It's not an Indeed ad, but someone like myself, or, internally, when you have that person in front of you, your hiring manager can speak to that. I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah. I love that. You guys are really providing a very unique, I haven't actually heard of this like type of recruiting before. Super valuable. I would be very interested if I still have my business, because the nuances of those types of connections really matter to somebody like me. I want that long-term person. I don't want to, I've watched dozens. I had my business for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I watched dozens and dozens of companies where I would be like, why they're doing 5 times more revenue than I am if 30 sales reps, and their mentality was exactly what you just said. Oh, they leave. I'll sell. I got 30 reps. They'll do $20 million and they just rotate through. You never see the same rep. It wouldn't even take a season or like 6, not even 9 months.
Yeah.
It's like, and every single one of those organizations, every single one of them are gone now. They're gone because there's no company culture. There's no like long-term vision, like you said. There's no like career plan and advancement. They'd have these middle management people like, sales managers, but there's none of the well thought out things that you guys are like helping connect company with candidate with. They're not doing that. They're just like warm body. Let's go knock doors and get leads and stuff. Like it's
that's
mentality.
We work definitely in that kind of in the shadows, right? So we hear the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
But as I'm talking to people, it's funny. You start to hear a common thing against candidates of like, I don't have this and I'm looking for this. I wish there's a company like this. And we can offer that to companies saying, hey, there's a lot of people out in your market. They're saying they don't have career advancement. If you guys were to advertise you had career advancement, and that doesn't mean that every sales rep becomes a manager. Again, getting to know your people is like, how can I help you in your career? It might just be, you help us do some training. You want to do some community events with us. Maybe you want to be cross-trained in the call center or, on the production side. Things like that we just naturally say the best salesperson is going to be our next sales manager. Man, they might be your next marketing guy. They might be your next call center leader. Like, but we got to get to know them and be able to offer that and have career paths and have openings where people know the paths how to get there. So if I'm a salesperson and I know in John's organization, he's got installation, operations, call center, marketing, and all these different positions exist. They might be filled today, but I know, how would I eventually become a canvas leader? How would I eventually become head of inside sales? How do I eventually become, an ops person? If I know those positions exist and there's a job description, if nothing else, and I can sit down with my manager and say, man, I would want to be an ops one day, but I've never worked with ProLine CRM. I don't know. Well, yeah, let's once a month, let's get you with the install team and the ops team, and they'll spend an hour with you once a month and kind of cross train you on that type of stuff. Worst case scenario, they're a salesperson that's cross trained and they can help out in project management from time to time. Man, that'd be a problem, right? Like, that would be amazing if we had that. But that all starts with, again, kind of the onboarding process and thinking in the future of like, where's my company going? What positions do I need? When I do have them, are they clearly job descriptions written, job duties, expectations, accountability? Like, if I have all that aligned and I'm a candidate, I walk in, man, you look like a really organized organization. And if I come from the opposite, man, where do I sign? So,
yeah. Very interesting. Well, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about PE a little bit, and I see the industry changing a good bit. I'm sure you do. Do you see a shift in what BRIX is doing from like the individually owned non-PE backed companies to like more of that larger conglomerate? Do you see the roll up kind of as being your customer at BRIX, or do you still see more like the small business owner reaching out to you, or who do you want to work with?
Really, we're happy to work with both. Like I said, I think both have advantages, to them. And it really depends on the candidate, right? We have candidates that really want to work with that single location, kind of family owned type thing. And we have candidates too that, a PE is going to offer probably more career opportunities and more growth opportunities potentially. Just it's a larger organization. So it really depends on the candidate. So we love working with both because from a candidate generation, I might need a sales manager that, just they're not interested in PE. And part of me, once I build a relationship, I want to help this individual out, find a home, because I can tell they're frustrated where they're at. So we're really happy working with both of those. It really depends, I think, on the candidate and where they see their career going. So I don't want to put myself in a silo and have candidates come to me and say, I really want to get with a PE firm, or I really want to get with an owner, and not be able to assist them. And I think in both worlds, I can help either party out and kind of instruct a single family. Why would someone want to work PE? I don't get it. Well, because they have X, Y, and Z, and they're organized. They have SOPs in place and things like that. You can duplicate some of those things in your small, I shouldn't say small business, but single location, maybe 2 location operation, and vice versa. I can help the PEs out going, I don't get why someone wouldn't want to work with this huge company. Well, because you guys don't have, X, Y, and Z and things like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's
That's great. That's super
helpful.
helpful. Yeah, super helpful. Because I would imagine just people listening and watching, they want to know who you guys work with it. And I would see advantages to both sides of that, like not putting yourself in a silo. Definitely. And I, like you, have seen great PE situations and not so great PE situations. And good small business and bad small business. And so we're just not well run, or not all the struggles that we've been talking about over the past hour is just, it's a lot to get yourself organized so that you're even in a position to want to hire somebody like this and be ready as a leader, and then hire other leaders. Like, it's a really big deal. If you are, you're just a $10 million company, it's still a big deal.
And I think, in no matter what party you're in, like, my advice is always, like, I go to a lot of them. And so I would love to see people there, but like, I'd invite, if you're an owner of a roofing company, to go out to IRE, to go out to Qualified Remodel or Top 500, go to a Dave Yoho training or something, and just be in the room with other people like yourself. Because I think a lot of owners, we're in that world every day, and it's hard to like find someone else that's doing the same thing, the same struggles. It's maybe overcome them and just network. And that's where, again, I think I can come in as kind of this networking guy that I can, match you up, John, with a company here in Georgia. I can match it with someone in California that has the same struggles and overcame them. But I think just networking in general, and that's another great recruiting technique, is just network like crazy in community events. Get out there, go visit your National Guard office. Sounds silly. Like, why would I do that? Well, the National Guard recruiter there knows all the part-time guys. And if you walked in the National Guard recruitment office tomorrow and said, I will interview anybody with a military background, I won't guarantee them a job, but I'll interview all of them, you're going to get some interviews, I feel like. If you
That's freaking awesome. That's great advice. So that's so funny you say that, because the only time I ran like an ad, I was trying to hire somebody for the new location. I was trying to grow fast I didn't know anybody here. I moved here, didn't know anybody in Savannah, and I put an ad, and like I had tons of candidates. There were actually, and out of the 50 candidates I got in a day, 6 of them, the best 6 were all military.
Yeah.
And I was
go to your Army, Navy, Marine office, and say, those guys keep relationships with the people they recruited, and they were 17, 18, right? Yep. And now they're not re-enlisting, and they're maybe going at their recruiter saying, is anybody hiring vets? Who's a company that would align with maybe some of the values I had? And if they go, well, there's a roofing company down the road. I know they're, the owner stops in here once a month, and, he tries to butter me up with a box of donuts, but he told me he's hiring for sales reps and for labor, and he'll guarantee an interview. Another community thing is, what if, I would imagine when you had your shop, John, you guys had some old tools laying around the warehouse or something. What if you, called every shop teacher, every high school, and said, we'd love to donate some old power drills and some things. And my install guy, if you're ever looking for a guest speaker in your class, we'd love to come in and talk to your juniors and seniors. And we actually have an internship program that over the summer we'll bring any high school junior or senior in. They can tag along. I mean, you could have them do whatever, right? Paid internship, I would pay them something, but have them go run out materials to a job site, have them go tag along with the installers, anything. But that's the whole other side that we talk about sales and such, but everyone is lacking on labor. And we got to get like our youth to like understand how great this industry is. But if you went to every high school, donate some tools, gave an hour every quarter, every month, schools are underpaid. Like, they don't have budgets. Like, no shop teacher is going to tell you no, right? Mm-hmm. And you put yourself in that room, not everyone's going to college there. A lot of these guys are, potentially are trade school candidates. Maybe they'll go right for that. So I'm looking to hire 3 interns this summer. Anybody in your shop, that shop teacher would probably give you 3 names. You got these 3 guys I think would be really good for you. Take an internship. They graduate the next year. You have an entry-level labor starting off that's homegrown. They're telling their parents that, so-and-so came in and told me about this. It's just more community outreach, and stuff. And It's probably going to help with your sales too, these types of things. So those are, things that I love to talk about. And I got 20 other ideas like that they'd cost zero money, maybe a little bit of time and effort. But it's funny, John, I would tell a lot of companies this, and no one does it because it does take a little bit of time and effort. And so sometimes it's, finding someone in your company that can own this recruiting aspect. And maybe that means bringing an internal recruiter in from time to time. But, that's what I love talking about. So if you are a company listening to this and you just want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to hop on a call and give you 20 ideas. And even if I'm not the partner for you long term, I'm willing to get back to the industry and help out where I can.
I love it. These are really great ideas. And to your point about the military guys, we had one Army captain. Those guys talk to each other. They all live in the same neighborhood. It's like, you're not even on base. And we just got 12 roofs. So it's it's the same thing. You find like-minded, similar value individuals. They're going to talk to each other. You're going to attract the right people. Very, very true. Yeah. Well, Andrew, thanks for coming on today. This has been very enlightening. Super, super, super interesting what you guys do. Very interested to see, because I was curious before we got on the call. It's what makes you guys different? This is a very helpful thing, very high level and important thing to connect the right people with the right companies. And the way that you guys do that is super helpful. What's the way people need to reach out to you?
Yeah, the best way I would say is one of two ways. There's our website, which is BRIX Recruiting. It's BRIX recruiting.com. Go on our website. There's a field you can fill out, and someone from my team will reach out, if not myself. Otherwise, I'm super active on LinkedIn. So if you're a LinkedIn individual, you find me Andrew Henke. It's Henke. And I post stuff all the time on there, but it's a great way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew, for coming on, and thanks everybody for watching the Big Roofs podcast.
Yeah, thanks, John.